Morning, everybody. Good morning,
Let's
Paul.
go.
I
Let's
feel like
go.
we have like so many. Everybody has been sick. I feel like in the entire city of Niceville and like all of the Emerald Coast, and we have scratchy voices and coughs, but no fevers.
I have coffee.
Mm,
I do feel a little run down and tired. Maybe you guys can see that, but we'll get it done today.
that's
We'll
right.
get it
We're
done.
we're gonna white knuckle this puppy all the way through. He is Paul. I am Saul. This is your Emerald Coast News Live, and here is our intro music.
Hit it.
You'll be happy to know, Paul, that I put the same intro outro stuff at the bottom of my list so I don't forget it this week.
Good. Good.
But we'll just jump right into it with our first story.
Sure.
I think this is a fun, happy story to get us started off on. Niceville's high school band is going up to Chicago. They're going to go be playing in a wind symphony event. It's not every day that a band gets called to something this big. But it feels like that for Niceville band because dadgum, they go to all the cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Niceville's band, Ruckles chorus, Niceville's chorus. We get to go on some amazing trips and get invited to some amazing places. So what I'm super excited about is obviously, yeah, we're really good, and that's why we get to go to some of these things.
Mhm.
But it is an awesome opportunity for members of our band to get out of the area. People think that because we're such a big military town that kids are like all well traveled. There are some kids that are in that group from the band who probably have never left the state of Florida or even the Southeast. And to be able to go to Chicago and see some of the fantastic landmarks that city has to provide, and to be able to have an opportunity like this is just amazing.
I think it's pretty cool too, but I've never been to Chicago. I've driven on the west side of Chicago, which I don't feel like counts. So I'm excited to see, pictures on social media as these kids go and see cool stuff because they're not just going to go play in the Percy Granger Wind Ensemble. Uh, they're going to go to, Millennium Park. Is that what it's called? They're going to go see the waterfront. They're going to see a bunch of cool stuff. So it's a big win for Niceville and the band. And I'm excited for them. And I needed a win this morning. All right. On to more, I don't know, controversial, I would say. I think
Politically boring news. Okay, let's
politically
do that.
boring news. The referendum that's coming up next Tuesday on March the 10th in Fort Walton Beach. Judge has made a ruling on it. He has said that 4 of the ballot propositions to change the charter are substantially not good. He said that they are. Oh man, I don't even know how to put this. Let me go to the exact ruling because I don't want to say this wrong and piss off exactly one half of the city of Fort Walton Beach. Um, while the voting will still take place, Judge Stone ruled that many of the referendum questions posed to the electorate obfuscated the measure's true intent and therefore did not meet legal requirements for a valid poll question. These proposed amendments aim to do everything from enshrining the necessity of an independent fire and police department to increasing the residency requirement from city council candidates from 6 months to a year. Judge Stone, felt that the way that they were posited in the 75 words allowed on a ballot question was not clear enough. And so while he hasn't taken them off the ballot and stopped the election, he has said, yeah, we're going to revisit these after the election. You can't release any of the you can't certify the results of the election or anything like that, Mr. Supervisor of Elections, until all of the litigation and the appeals are done. So this thing is far from over.
Yeah, he completely neutered and spaded the referendum items. But here's the history on this. There's a group called Fort Walton Beach Watch Group and a former councilman, Travis Smith. They aren't happy with the current council and some of the changes the council was trying to make via these referendums. That's how we got to the judge in the first place. The judge quasi agreed with them, but didn't strike down the referendum items from actually being taken off the ballot.
Mhm.
But he said, sure, go ahead and vote on them, but I think they're all crap, is basically what he said.
Yeah, he said that they don't have the plaintiffs, so former Councilman Smith and Fort Walton Beach Watch Group have a substantial chance of victory in court on these things, but people are still fighting on the other side of this. This really, I think the thing that everybody knows about, if you're following Fort Walton Beach politics at all, is the 3% cap rule, which is just one piece of this. The city of Fort Walton Beach passed a charter amendment in 2024, which caps the increase of the city budget at 3%. Well, if they have grants or stuff like that, I don't think that, I think those are possibly counted as well. But basically, what it's meant to do is curb excessive, quote unquote. That's how the watch group and Travis Smith feel about this excessive spending. We've had several conversations with Payne Walker. He's a councilman in Fort Walton Beach that is in favor of that 3% spending cap. He's in favor of, as far as I can tell, I think he really likes the idea of consolidating stuff like police and fire services to reduce costs to the taxpayer. He is very much on board with this lawsuit ruling. We're going to talk to him next Wednesday after the election. My hope is to get Ben Merrill or another city councilman who's on the council that is more in favor of this as well, just to kind of get both sides. But after reading through the 15, 16, 17 page court ruling from Judge Stone, I tend to make caucus with the way that Payne Walker is seeing the results of this. He says, this is, I think he called it an ass kicking. I think that that's probably in the right zip code. Usually when judges say this has a substantial chance of not moving forward, they're no fools. They do this professionally. They usually mean it. And that doesn't mean that an appeal won't overturn it. But if it stays in front of this judge, I don't like its chances.
I mean, listen, this is a perfect example of how local government has a way bigger impact on your life than what's going on in the state and even federal government. Everybody wants to watch Fox News. Everybody wants to get in an uprising about current events. You should be paying, if you're in the city of Fort Walton Beach, you should be paying way more attention to this than CNN or Fox News.
Yeah, I mean, Councilman Ben Merrill came on with us, I want to say last Friday, somewhere in there, but he talked about, the seriousness of this referendum and how people should still vote, right? Go out and vote. And he said, like, look, if you want to have this thing pass, great. We want your vote. And I think that that's a good attitude to have about elections, especially in Fort Walton Beach, especially in March when there's lower turnout. I mean, they'll be lucky to get 10% turnout in this thing.
Especially for referendum items that don't look like they're going to count. I don't know. Maybe it'll be interesting to see how everyone votes, even though this has this cloud hanging over it. Maybe it'll be so overwhelming in one direction or the other that it will affect, how this moves forward beyond just the court rulings.
Yeah, but it's a hot mess, dude. So Fort Walton Beach. Anyway, speaking of hot messes that people might be in, this dude. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No. If what the federal government alleges about this gentleman, former Air Force Major Gerald Eddie Brown Jr., is true, not cool. Apparently, he went to China and talked to Chinese Air Force officials about how to defeat the F-35 in combat. Kind of a dick move, frankly. So he came back to America and then got arrested by the feds. I don't know why you would betray your country and then roll back into Jacksonville like nothing happened, but I guess stranger things have happened in Jacksonville.
I mean, you're innocent until proven guilty, but I mean, this, as someone who has been put in charge of national secrets before, like, this is drummed into your head over a long career of not to inadvertently even let classified information spill, let alone travel to a foreign country to train or give them information. Again, if this is true, I don't know what your reasoning would be, or justification for it. The U.S., the F-35, the F-22, and technology-wise, we are still the furthest ahead, but China is definitely closing the gap as quickly as possible, and we do not want to give them, we don't want to give them any information that allows them to catch up.
So you're a dude with some sort of clearances, right? You've worked for government contractors before.
I cannot confirm or deny.
Fair enough. Well, if you had, what kind of breach of trust is this? Oh,
it's big. I mean, it puts you in jail. So it ends your life and your career and puts you in jail. Unless, of course, you're a federal politician, then somehow they figure out a way to get out of it. But I actually had a chance to talk to some former pilots today, retired pilots, about this case. And one of them, who just recently retired, said literally at the bottom of his pay statement, there was a reminder that everything that he learned while in the military was still a national secret, and that he should not give it to foreign governments. Uh, I just think, like, if what they say is true, this guy's going to be going away for a while.
I think I'm okay with that. Anyway, as we move on to our next big thing in the state house, state legislators, very, very busy bees this week.
Mhm.
They passed a joint resolution that, in the House at least, that would eliminate non-school property taxes for homesteaded properties. We have a very long article that Trisha Elliott, our intrepid news tech, who is quickly moving up to reporter at this point, she put together, I think, let me count it up, but it's an in-depth, multiple interviews. She talked to David Deitch, the city manager over in Niceville, and then State Representative Nathan Boyles also gave an interview on this. And I thought his comments were the most interesting, because he said that this bill essentially is the opening negotiation point. And
Yeah, I think the current bill, right, is like, they thought there was going to be a phase in over like a 7 to 10 year period, but the current legislation says, like, no, it must start in 2027. So they've put down like this really hardcore stance, that this needs to happen soon. Obviously, it still needs to be voted on in the other side of the state, Congress, I think, right?
yeah, so state Senate needs to vote on it.
Yeah.
And my scuttlebutt's talking to the political insiders, not Nathan Boyles, by the way. They say that they're expecting a special session on property taxes to take place in June-ish. They have another special session that they're planning for April-ish. So nobody's getting out of it. It's going to be like last year, where people were in Tallahassee for about half the year.
Yeah. So both sides have to approve. Then this has to go to a referendum to
Well, the
vote
governor
on it
has to sign it
statewide.
too,
Yeah,
and
the
then it
governor
has
has
to
to
go
sign.
to a referendum in November.
Yeah, and then November we all have to vote on it. So, this came up at a meeting that I was at yesterday, at the county, and they're definitely worried about it. They're concerned because they think this represents, at least for Okaloosa County, nearly $40 million, between the county and the jurisdictions, like 39 million or something that would just disappear in 2027. And with no talk or discussion, at least currently, about how to replace those funds, a lot of things would change within the counties and the local jurisdictions very quickly when it comes to budget, when that money just disappears.
Because they don't have money for anything. I mean, the city of Niceville would lose something like $4.5 million of its revenue, which is a huge portion of its budget. That's basically what they use to pay for fire and police, is the general fund, right? Basically, the all of property tax in Niceville works out to about $8 million.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people want this to happen, and I think if it goes to it makes it all the way to public vote, I think the public will vote on it and
I
probably vote for it. But I think the challenge is like right now, no one is communicating where the replacement is going to come from. This feels like just a very large, like, Doge or beyond Doge hit to government funding at the county and city levels, with no discussion on how we're going to replace it. A half-cent sales tax, that we use for infrastructure right now in the county, raises about $22 million per year. So you would almost, like, if you went to a sales tax model, you'd almost have to have a half-cent sales tax or a full cent sales tax to kind of make up for the missing funds that come from property taxes. And I don't know, maybe that's the way we should head, because then the tourists would pay for partly of what we were paying before. But that means the cost of everything goes up on the consumption side. And again, no one's even talking about if that's what they want to do to make up
Yeah,
the shortfall. So
there's no plan in place.
yeah, it's going to be super interesting. In a lot of ways, I think there's going to be people out there that are for it, right? Because they want
Mhm.
smaller government. But then at the same time, they want parks, they want sidewalks, they want better schools. So this could be a huge reset for the state, and how it rolls down to the counties and local jurisdictions.
Yeah, and then The other thing, and look, this is just me being an ex-government guy, so take it as you will. But property taxes are a more stable form
Mhm.
of tax for which a government can use to plan. And I know everybody thinks that government is hugely inefficient, but it's pretty efficient for for something that has to audit and take care of every penny. Um, and the issue with taking away the property tax and giving them more volatile tax like sales tax as as a replacement for it is that when stuff goes wrong, when things go left, right? Like we saw in 2008 when we had property tax, right? But even that deflated significantly. Um, and so when we don't have that stable tax, things get less efficient and government gets expensive for what you get. And that needs to be considered, right? Like I don't want to sit here and tell you that I love paying property tax because who who wants to give money to an abstract nebulous thing? I get it. But the abstract nebulous thing gives you roads and all these other things that will be worse if we hit a bump in the road, which we're a capitalist society, so it kind of goes up and down, right? Like you're going to have bad years and good years. Heck, they even had that in Egypt, right? With Joseph. I was just watching a thing about Joseph and
There you go, man.
like, yeah, but they had 7 years good and 7 years bad. And brother, let me tell you, like, I get the defense industry, like, we're going to have stuff like that forever. But the tourism industry is more than a fringe benefit, my friend, especially here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. And obviously, this isn't going to be the last time we talk about it. So,
Oh, no way. Anyway,
good times.
last election thing, guys. We are in the midst of the municipal election cycle. 3 candidates are running for Valparaiso City Mayor. It's a big deal because the Valparaiso City Mayor is a strong mayor. They get a vote on the council and they get to set the agenda for what they're going to talk about. So 3 candidates. We've already spoken with former commissioner, because she had to resign to run, Chris Wasden, who is running. We're going to speak with Joe Morgan, the second candidate of 3 tomorrow, talk about his plans for the city, what he wants to see done. And then we're still working on getting Patrick Palmer, who's the third candidate. I think is a very interesting candidate to keep an eye on. As he's got a lot of groundswell behind him. I'm very interested to see what he has to say and hope he will come on the show. We'd love to have him. But yeah, that election, March 10th, early voting's already started. So it's going to be very interesting.
This is a pivotal time for Valparaiso. I don't know if its citizens feel it, but they should. Okaloosa Gas has a beautiful building. They have a lot of acreage that they're going to be of their old facility that they're going to be getting rid of over time. We really, really need a mayor that has a clear vision for what Valp needs to be in the next 10, 15, and 20 years. Having the highest millage rate and having all the things that are breaking down in Valp, having to rely on the city of Niceville for fire and sometimes even sewer breaks, like it
It
just
ain't
can't stay the
sustainable.
same. It's not sustainable. If we want Valp to survive, we need a leader that's got a real clear vision on what it needs to look like in the next 10, 15 years. And so, yeah, if you live in the city of Valp, man, put your eggs in somebody's basket who is communicating that clearly.
Yeah, agreed. It's got to be somebody that they have to have a vision with how we're going to dig out of this hole, because that's what it is at this point. The revenues are not great. The reserves are not great. The infrastructure is very old, and basically what we did in the last 50 years is we robbed Peter to pay Paul. We didn't maintain infrastructure, and we're gonna see that very soon. I think of the town of Big Spring, Texas, when I was a reporter at my first job. It's a town called Big Spring, and it's about the same size as Valp. And they had water breaks every week because the water infrastructure was 100 years, and they were like, we don't have to pay for it now. Why raise taxes? Why keep tax? I want to get reelected, so I'm going to lower taxes, right? And then one day, the water break was so bad that it flooded the school and it shut the school down for 2 weeks. And like that
Becomes eye-opening very quickly.
it's a problem.
Yeah.
And you don't want to wait until it's evident.
Yeah. What I'd like to see Valp do is put its energy into looking at properties that they currently have available that are on the tax rolls that are low value and figuring out how to make them higher value properties. I've been blessed to work on a couple of projects in Valpy, and they have been open to doing that. We took down a very old house and now turning it into two. We took a vacant lot and put an apartment complex on it. These are all things that take low value properties and increase them. What I don't want Valpy to do is get addicted to this idea that the federal government is going to give them land or sell them land to increase this, the amount of land in Valpy that's available to build on. Like that's fine, but it's a little bit of a distraction and just kicks the operation.
It's a pipe dream.
Well, it's a pipe dream, but even if you got it, it kicks the operation and maintenance can down the road, right? You get a bunch of new revenue up front, but you still have a lot of operation and maintenance coming in the back end. Really, we need to rejuvenate Valpy with what we currently have and just increase the value of the lots that are there by allowing spot development in certain areas. So.
And not for nothing, but Okaloosa Gas has given them a lifeline. That rental property, right, that goes back on the tax rolls, huge deal. That property that they're now no longer using and are going to sell back on the tax rolls, huge deal.
Yep. And we're going to see revitalization all along that area. Now, what I hope is that it's smartly and strategically thought about. I haven't looked at the future land use.
Got to have a plan.
Got to have a plan, and please put some mixed use in there with some ability to do higher density on those lots. And let's get you a grocery store. Let's get you something in Valpy that causes people from Niceville to head in your direction instead of Valpy residents always having to head in Niceville's direction.
Exactly. So. Well, we'll see what happens. We got a couple days left. You have 5 days left. Early voting is in Shalimar or Crestview, or you can wait until Election Day at Greater Peace Union Baptist Church. I think that's what it's called. Across the street from the old town hall. March the 10th until 7 p.m. That's when polls close, according to state statute. So be there or be square, which we are in these square boxes that I made. Anyway, that's what we've got for today. As always, we want your questions, comments, concerns, critiques, and general chicanery, because it builds engagement and then more people see us. Please help us get in front of other people by sharing us as well. And check us out, midbaynews.com/newsletter. We have plenty of great news to show you. All you have to do is sign up.
I'm going to go off the agenda for a second, Christopher. You don't know this is coming. I think this is our first show since you were given an award at Niceville Valpy Chamber of Commerce Awards Night. So I just wanted to recognize you on the show. The fact that you were recognized at that event for the amount of work that you do and information that you give to the general public, I thought was incredible. I know you and even I, to some degree, are polarizing figures in our community. We catch flack from all directions, but your bravery and your willingness to supply the news to our community is of huge value. And I was so glad to be there that night to witness you receive that award.
Y'all tricked me.
We did trick you pretty good, but I just want to make sure you're recognized on the show because I know you weren't going to do it yourself. So,
well, I appreciate it. And the reason I have that award up there is not because I'm a wonderful person, but it's because you guys, we have a group of friends that we meet every Tuesday morning, but they basically moved heaven and earth to actually get me to show up to this thing. And it's my award that reminds me that I have good friends. So that's the real blessing that I got out of that, is that I got some real ride or die homies, as we say on the streets of suburbia. And, it's a good feeling.
It was a solid reminder of how hard your job is. Guys like you, David Deitch, a lot of our leaders have very difficult jobs and polarizing jobs. And, just your bravery and your willingness to continue doing this every day, even though you catch shots from the left and the right all the time. You've learned to dodge them well, my friend. So thanks, congratulations.
Brother. Well, it's that time. We got to play the music.
Do it.